There's a confusion about China that, and let me at least give you my opinion. The popular conception is that companies come to China because of low labor cost. I'm not sure what part of China they go to, but the truth is China stopped being the low labor cost country many years ago. And that is not the reason to come to China from a supply point of view. The reason is because of the skill and the quantity of skill in one location and the type of skill it is.
With a population of 1.4 billion, China does have the most undergrads getting science and engineering degrees globally. But in reality, there is still a difference in the cost of labor. The U.S. federal minimum wage is $7.25. And while China has no set national minimum wage, in the city of Zhangzhou, where Foxconn's largest iPhone plant is located, the hourly minimum wage is 19.6 yuan, or less than $3.
We don't know exactly how much the factory workers are making, but in the early days, they had a wage that was much better than they were making out in the fields. Now, as the demand for their products and their talent because they've gotten more experience, their wages have gone up even more. And many of the workers who are in the factories are moving into what we would call their version of what we would call middle class now.
Foxconn did not respond to a request for a comment, and Apple did not provide a comment on iPhone worker wages either.
I would say that there is still a cost of labor concern for building here in the US, but I do agree with what Tim Cook is saying, that there is also an expertise that makes China very attractive. There is a lot of skill and a lot of local supply chain for where all the parts are going to come from to build such a complex product that makes it a very appealing place to build.
Apple said in a statement to CNBC that all of our products are designed and engineered here, and they all include components manufactured in America. For example, iPhone glass is made in Kentucky, and lasers that enable Face ID are built in the US too. It also said, just last year we announced $430 billion in new investments across the country, including our work with more than 9,000 suppliers across all 50 states. In 2012, Google purchased Motorola for $12.5 billion. A year later, it opened the U.S.'s only smartphone manufacturing plant in Fort Worth, Texas, with plans to make the Moto X. The factory was part of Motorola's plan to build an American-made, low-cost smartphone. But about a year after it opened, the plant shut down, citing high domestic operating costs and low consumer demand. Google sold Motorola to Lenovo for a multi-billion-dollar loss. Some experts say Motorola's U.S. failure shows that the cost of labor and the lack of skill in the U.S. is why manufacturing in the country is not cost-effective. Alan Young, a former Foxconn executive and author of the book Flying Eagle, brought up this point during a visit to the White House in 2017 with then-chairman of Foxconn, Terry Gou. Foxconn is Apple's largest supplier and the world's largest electronic manufacturer.
Chairman Gou, Terry, made it very clear. The core skills and the capabilities of making phones, manufacturing electronics have moved to Asia. And for it to come back to U.S., it would be difficult, though not impossible. But it will take a while. It won't be easy. That's the reality.
However, Purism is one American company that has been able to do what many are calling the impossible.
So this is actually where we're going to do manufacturing for the Librum 5 USA. We're going to do the printed circuit board to printed circuit board assembly. We started the company in 2014 doing manufacturing in the United States of America. Purism's a hardware manufacturer as well as software. So we do laptops, mini PCs, and also a phone that run the same operating system that we authored.
Purism offers a range of consumer electronics, including the Librum 5 USA phone, which costs $2,000. It's the only smartphone in the world with the Made in USA stamp.
The FTC actually has a very strict definition of what Made in USA is or assembled in the USA. The Librum 5 USA is manufactured in the United States of America. We actually have a label and a sticker we put on there, Made in USA electronics, so that we're actually showcasing that we are indeed qualified by the FTC definition of Made in USA for a full phone.
The phone is assembled here in its Carlsbad, California factory. Purism sources all components of the Librum 5 USA phone domestically, with the exception of the chassis and the Wi-Fi card.
Overall, what we're looking at is all the electronics are manufactured at our facility. The chassis, the specific components are called integrated circuits. Those can come from outside of the country. As a one example, our NXP CPU is manufactured in South Korea, and then we import that specific chip, and then we use that on our board, that we do all the manufacturing.
But the company also sells the Librum 5 phone, which is mass-produced in China. For $1,300, it's $700 cheaper than the American-made model. Weaver says he hopes to expand the line of products the company makes in the U.S.
For us, obviously, the U.S. is the one we're expanding most, and it's going to even spill over to doing other products in the United States as well, like our laptop and mini PCs and potentially even servers. There is also potential for us to even get into chip manufacturing.
Weaver said the company is profitable, but we asked how this is possible with the higher labor costs for the U.S.-made model.
Actual physical labor costs are clearly more than in China. We're able to sell at a price point where we don't have to cram our costs so far down. So that allows us to pay people really well and take care of the employees and have secure supply chain and everything else.
Purism initially started through a crowdfunding initiative. Now the company says it's sold tens of thousands of phones.
Overall, we're a multi-million-dollar company. We've seen growth triple digits year over year since we started. Our margins are healthy, which allows us to continue to pay people really well and also allows us to scale up the business.
Purism said almost 1/3 of its revenue comes from the American-made Librum 5 USA model. But Weaver said labor hasn't been an issue for the company.
The key piece that you're looking at is there's actually not a lot of physical labor that goes into producing a phone. It's more mechanical labor, the actual machines. And so machine versus machine, it's equal to do US manufacturing on the same machine in the US versus a machine in China. So in the end, you're looking at a number of US jobs that can be, that assembly, line operator, final fulfillment, but machine versus machine is still equal.
But do Americans want these jobs?
Anytime we post a job at all, we get 100 applicants. So from line operators to assembly workers, right? We're talking well over $10 over minimum wage for a lot of those positions.
However, not everyone agrees this business model will be successful in the States. Baizhu Chen, a professor at the USC Marshall School of Business, says these jobs are not coming back.
I don't see in the U.S. there's rows of workers sitting in front of the desk, assemble the small phones. I don't see that happening. These type of jobs are not coming back to the U.S. I'm talking about the labor-intensive manufacturing job.